All right, we want to talk weather now with Mike Nelson.
Yeah, we have some potential breaking news coming in, Mike. Can you tell us what we're looking at and what we're seeing?
We have a tornado warning in effect for southwestern Weld County near the town of Platteville. That is a tornado on the ground right now from a thunderstorm that has developed along Highway 85. It's not a large tornado, but it is capable of producing some pretty good damage, probably some winds to around 100 miles per hour. And that storm is drifting very, very slowly, not really moving in any direction to speak of, perhaps just a little bit toward the south and the east at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. We'll stay zoomed in on this particular cell. This has popped up just in the last 10 minutes. We've had a series of thunderstorms throughout the afternoon that are mostly what I'd call moderate, not severe storms. But what oftentimes happens along the Front Range is that as these storms go through their life cycle and collapse out into gusty surface winds, those winds swirl together and can be drawn up into the updraft of a new developing thunderstorm and produce what we call a land spout tornado. They are tornadoes. They tend to be weak and short-lived, and oftentimes looking at them, they are larger at the bottom than they are at the top. And the reason for this is because the air is swirling in from all directions at the surface and then being drawn into a tighter and tighter vortex as it goes up toward the base of the cloud. So the areas that are affected by this are up in southwestern Weld County, which has become a pretty populated area. So we have a tornado warning that's in effect until 5:30. The storm is near Platteville. It's maybe drifting a little bit to the east, about 10 miles per hour. So the locations, Platteville, obviously, Gilchrist, Firestone, Frederick, Fort Lupton, Milliken, Dacono, and Meade, all impacted by this. Come out to radar for just a second. Let me show you the area. And actually, as the air tracker is pulling back out, you can see what we're talking about here, that wider because the air is swirling in and then being drawn up into the parent thunderstorm up above. It is a damaging tornado. It can certainly cause some pretty good impact. It's very visual, obviously, right along I-25 and looking off to the east of it. So this is the area that's impacted, right around Platteville, the area in this red parallelogram under the tornado warning until 5:30. So it's along Highway 85, Gilchrist, and the Platteville area. Over farther to the west around Dacono and Frederick and Firestone, you're kind of on the edge of this. This is a little bit further to the east of you and seems to be drifting a little bit more to the east. So the primary areas of concern with this small tornado would be right around Platteville and heading up toward the Gilchrist area as well. But as southwestern Weld County continues to grow in population and in neighborhoods, this is a common area to have tornadoes, and for many, many years they swirled out there just doing what we'd call natural crop rotation. But now with a lot of neighborhoods in there, we do indeed have population that is at risk from this particular storm system. So as it continues to kind of swirl around out there, we'll monitor it. But safest thing that you can do at the moment is get away from windows, get to an interior room or hallway, to the basement if you have such in your home. If you're in an apartment building, try and get to an area away from the main windows, perhaps into the central hallways of the apartment building. If you can monitor us on our various devices on your cell phone, a great way to do that while you're in your safe area during this. And I always talk about this every year during tornado season. Kids, if you're home and mom and dad are still coming home from work, don't panic. Just follow those basic safety rules. Get away from windows. One thing that a lot of times folks have done in many areas around the United States where we have frequent tornadoes is put on your bicycle helmet. It might seem a little silly, boys and girls, but actually, if things were flying around, that would give your head some protection, and it makes you feel at least like you're doing something to try and help keep yourself safe during this storm. So we do have a tornado on the ground right now, southwestern Weld County near Platteville along Highway 85. This is what we call a land spout tornado. It's a weak, generally short-lived tornado. It is caused by the inflow at the ground, different swirling motions at the surface being drawn up into the updraft of this thunderstorm. It's not the classic tornadoes like in the movie Twister. It is a much weaker storm than that, but it is still a tornado with winds that might reach 100 miles per hour. And if it happens to move through your area, would definitely rearrange the lawn furniture, possibly some roof damage, some tree damage as well. So this is a great shot coming from Air Tracker 7, and we'll just continue to monitor this. And I guess I would ask to Ann, if you're hearing anything on social media from anybody, or Jason, or if you're getting any more reports on that at the moment.
Just mostly that people have spotted it so far. We've just been starting to monitor as well, but just a couple of pictures that have come into our newsroom, video from viewers as well, because I think we're all sitting here watching from Air Tracker 7 as you are. Thankfully, it is a small tornado. I guess they're saying east of Union Reservoir. That's what we're hearing from Chopper right now. But no reports of any damage to this point.
And
but we will keep monitoring, of course.
We did look back, though, and see that in May of 2020, there was a land spout tornado in Weld County, caused some damage to some agricultural buildings, but narrowly avoided homes, no injuries from that. So as Mike said, these are weak and usually short-lived. But we have seen them because the conditions, especially up there where this one is, just seem to work towards making these.
All right, so we will continue to monitor that. I think, Mike, are you going to go ahead and give us the forecast now?
Go ahead and give that. This is a little zoom in on the radar. You can see here's Platteville, and the area that's highlighted in the red, that's the area of the most severe weather on this. So that's right along Colorado Highway 66, which of course runs west to east. It's just a little bit to this side of Meade, a little north of the Firestone area, and this storm, if it's drifting anywhere, it's slowly toward the east, maybe a little bit toward the northeast, which means the main concern are areas around the town of Platteville. We're going to keep the warning in effect until 5:30, may extend it a little bit because the tornado still seems to be hanging in there and will remain to be a threat in that area. Weld County, by the way, has more tornadoes on average than any other county in the United States over the last half century, and that's because we get a lot of these small swirling land spout tornadoes because of the impact of the mountains to the west, the Palmer Divide down to the south, the thunderstorms that pop up virtually every day in the summer, and the outflow winds from those storms get kind of churned around because of the land masses west and south of us, creating swirling motions at the ground that can be drawn up into the updraft of that storm. So the area that you see in red, pretty much right along Interstate 25, including Firestone and Tacona, over toward the Platteville area, Meade's right on the edge of it, extends up toward the Gilchrist area, all of it south of Greeley, remains under the tornado warning until 5:30 this afternoon. And if you're in that area, just use your good severe weather common sense. Get away from the windows, stay calm, down in the basement, the lowest floor of the building that you're in. And it's pretty obvious where this storm is. If you are looking at it, it is drifting slowly toward the east, toward the northeast. So if you are looking at it and you are west of that storm, for the most part, that means you are pretty much in the clear. You can just watch it carefully. But if that storm is to the southwest of you or a little bit due west of you, that's where you want to make sure that you stay indoors and get down to that place of safety.